What's up? What's up? Join the live. Join the live. I tapped in with me, B, man. I'm out here in the township. Come vibe with me for a second. I'm outside. I'm on a block, as they will call it, as the people like to call it. I'm on a block. I'm out here, man. I was just having a phone call with a female friend, and it just really bring a lot. Sometimes when you talk to one of your friends that's a female, it gives you a different perspective of the world. Females often have a different perspective of the world. You know what I mean? And I appreciate them. I appreciate women. I appreciate women's, I guess, their disposition and how they handle it in life. You know, I appreciate the way that even though life deals them a certain type of disposition, because everybody goes through stuff, but I appreciate the way that they go through dispositions in life, but they all carry it in a way with some sense of resilience. I like the resilience part about women. A lot of men would be like, women can be hard to deal with, and they can, but they have this level of resiliency that they use when they're faced with adversity that I feel like a lot of times don't get given enough credit to them. Because oftentimes we look at it as just like them being delusional. And oftentimes in the world, man, you kind of got to be a little bit crazy to make sense of this earth, this world, what goes on in it. Sometimes you got to have a crazy perspective. One thing I want to caution my sisters with, though, right, is that when you have men in your life, especially as we are getting older, so I'm middle aged, I'm in my mid 30s, and I've grown a lot as a man, and so has my sisters that we was cool with when we was younger. And I mean, we've all grown. So I will caution my sisters, right? As we age as men and women, as we mature as men and women, we have to respect each other's growth process and respect each other's respective positions that God put us in. God has given each and every one of us a calling that He calls us to, and He gives us all laws that we should individually follow. You know, and in life it's so hard to keep the laws and to follow, you know, what God says, and to be in a right state of mind. There's so much sin in the world. So I feel like we should respect each other's growth, and when we're having conversations with each other, we should appreciate both point of views. So if you are a woman and you have a valued friend, whatever, I don't even like to say friends, because I feel like friendships between men and women ain't even really, it's hard to have a friendship with a girl as I look at it. So I more so would say, if you have a relationship with a male, and that's like your brother in Christ, that's really more so what we are. We more so, the Bible calls us brothers and sisters. The Bible doesn't call us friends. And I think He does that for a reason, because when I look at women as a friend, it opens up opportunity for so much error in a relationship. But when you look at them as a sister, it kind of it gives you a more in detail map of what the relationship should be like between an unmarried man and an unmarried woman. Y'all should more so be like brothers and sisters. And I'm just now learning that for myself as I'm studying the Bible more and reading. And I know a lot of people may not be on that page yet. So you look at a friend as your friend when really that person is more so your brother. And how would you treat your brother? How would you react to them? How would you respect him? And in these days, our relationships with our own brothers and sisters aren't always model relationships to model after. But again, I appreciate the resiliency that women use to navigate through life. I do. I really actually do. I think that a lot of it comes from them having to keep going in the midst of their dispositions that life can hand them, you know, because I'm sure that being a nurturer, being a helpmeet has to come with its own set of, you know, it has to come with its own sets of difficulties, right? Bringing a child into the world, childbearing, being the dependent that has to be the being the coveree and not the coverer, if that makes any sense, right? Because I know how our egos is wired up, especially in being in America. Our egos is like, listen, do for self, because don't nobody got me. It's so hard to trust people. Me, myself, I tell you not to trust in me. So I know the dispositions that women can be put in could obliterate their trust issues and their trust to have it, especially for us men. For my guys, man, I know that it's tough being us, because in order for us to really be in a position where we succeed, where we prosper, where we thrive, we really need, the same way we have to cover women is the same way I feel as though women have to cover us. So it is an equal thing. We are equal. Like, we are not, men are not really above women, and women are not really above men. I feel as though we each have like a respective, women are strong in one area, and without the area that they're strong at, we'll be weak. And we're strong in one area, and without the area we're strong at, they'll be weak. So I think that's more so the dynamic, because we have to cover them, but then they also have to cover us. I know that God responds to unity, and I know, like, listen, God wouldn't give a man a task like, hey, this woman is birthing a child, bringing a child into the earth, and it's your job to cover and provide for her, protect and provide for her. I know God wouldn't give a man that task without aiding and assisting him. Like, I know God is not a person just to throw you to the wolves and let you. He's going to help you in some type of way because he loves us. And having a woman, I think women's test is going through the fire, the point where it's like, where the feminine test is like, all right, cool, this man may not seem suitable at this moment. Maybe he isn't financially stable. Maybe he isn't well respected throughout the town. Maybe he doesn't seem capable for this task as to, you know, to cover me. Maybe it may not seem like it. And for a woman to have those feelings, to see those things, to fear those things, to stick it through and be like, to have faith in God outside of herself, to not have faith in that man, but to have faith in God, like, well, if I love this man and I cover him, God will love me enough to cause this man to become. I think that is the challenge for the woman, to be like, all right, I love him enough that God will love him enough to cause him to become the man that I need and want and desire and can handle the task. And I think for men, we have a pressure on us to arrive at a certain destination, and it often looks different than what the female, you know, how she projects it to be. Like, the road to getting to where God wants, like, so if a girl wants you to have a red car, right? I'm just making this as an analogy. If that's what she wants, right? And she's believing in God that you'll be able to provide her this shiny new red car, right? Car have nothing to do with it. I'm just making this analogy. And now you're tasked with providing this car for her. The road to getting this car may be A, B, C, and D, but the woman may not see the path to get there. She may see it to be D, E, F, and G. That's how she sees it. So her task now becomes to trust in God and trust in your vision, which is A, B, and C, and D, and to do it that way. She has to say, like, listen, I trust your path. When in the past, this woman may have seen GEF, ABCDEFG, right? She has may seen it another way. She may have seen it done for her friends or her peers or her parents done a different way. So that may be the suit that may be what she knows. And so for her to trust outside of herself and just to know that like God causes man to become, God covers us. God will never leave us in the wilderness to be cold or homeless or not to have. If a female can have that type of faith in God, then I feel like God can cause her to have a suitable husband, a suitable male, a suitable helpmeet for her, a suitable somebody that help cover and provide for her. You know what I mean? And for the men, I feel like if we could learn to trust in our woman, like the trust that like, all right, well, God wouldn't have given me her if he didn't want me to provide for her where her needs are, right? So God wouldn't have gave me this girl if he didn't want me to get her a red car. Let's just say we back to that red car again. So I know God's going to make a way for me to get this red car. So throughout my process, I'm gonna keep my eyes fixed on God, not my wife and her needs of a red car, because I already know that. But God knows her needs, and he's gonna cause me to be able to be in a position to acquire that. So for me to stay on the path of God, to figure out like, boom, like, all right, God's going to lead me. I'm following the steps that God is leading me on, and he's going to be the one who reveals to me revelation. Us men, we need revelation. So I feel as though we should always be looking for revelation from God to be able to figure out how we should provide for our wives and what we need to do for them to protect them and hold them down, because they're really intricate creatures of humanity. They're intricate. They have a lot of different working parts and needs and wants and beliefs, and if we gonna lead them, we have to understand them. You got to kind of understand the nature of the female to even understand them, and that's growth, man. We don't have that while we young. But you know, God will grow us. I say all that, came out here on the block. Come tap in with y'all. I just got done talking to one of my female friends, and we was having like a touchy. We was arguing a little bit. I ain't even gonna lie. We were arguing a little bit. She hung up on me and then she called me back. You mean, matter of fact, I called her back because I didn't want to leave our argument left on the table like that. You know what I mean? It wasn't even an argument. It was just me trying, speak from what my knowledge of the Bible and from my growth, and from her, looking at me like, you know what I'm saying, how we was when we was young boys, and we done grew up from that. So, now it wasn't really an argument, but women have a lot of resiliency, and they have a sense of, I would call it a sense of delusion. I hope that don't sound offensive, but sometimes in order for them to cope with things in life, they fall into this place of their spirits and their minds where like only they exist. And I think for us as men, in order to help them, we got to understand where they're at and meet them where they're at, and be empathetic to their feelings, caring about their feelings. I know I went wrong a lot of times when I wasn't empathetic enough to the way somebody felt, especially if a female. You're not understanding how they feel about a specific situation. So you're only you come into the situation where you're just only trying to help fix. Us, we always want this. I got the solution. This is what we gonna do. We always schemers. We always trying to figure out our way in the world. We always trying to figure out what to do next and how to fix problems. And I guess that's our nature. And so women, here's a double edge. Here's the other side of the coin. Y'all got to understand that our nature is to fix the problem. I know sometimes I've heard that girls just want you to listen. Just listen to our feelings and just hear me out. And that is almost a hard task for any man to do, because in the back of our minds, if we have if it's an intimate relationship there, if it's Rather it be romantic, rather it be platonic. If you care about a woman, you're gonna protect her. You're gonna feel the urge to try to protect her, what's happening, or give her. You're gonna want to give. You want to give to them. Okay, well here's a solution, or here's a thing that can help you. You're gonna try to figure out something that can help. I guess that's just in our nature. So, and my mom always said this to me. She said, Brandon, you don't want to take the female out of a female. Let them be them. You don't want a woman who's not acting in her woman nature. So if a girl is emotional or she feels this type of way, let her feel that way, because that's the nature of the female, and you just have to be empathetic on it and come to a compromise. So that was the advice my mother gave to me, and so I will in turn give the same thing to the females, man. Some things are the instincts of a male. That's the manly instincts, is to be a problem solver and a fixer. And to be honest, I think that's sort of the things that y'all admire and like about us. You wouldn't like a man who wasn't a problem solver or had a solution or a fixer. So you don't want to take away the manly nature of a man as well. I think that goes both ways, and I think that in this tinger of all of our lives, this segment of all of our lives, right? I think that creating a balance and renewing our minds, allowing God to renew our minds and renew our spirits, is a good thing. I think this is the time when we should start forgetting all the things that we learned in the past and allow God to renew our hearts and renew our minds and relearn, retouch up on our old skills, be open to some new direction, be open to God to give us new downloads this time. As I'm going through life, I'm like, man, I gotta be open to God doing something new in my life and doing something different, because the stuff that I've already been going through, stuff that I already know how to do, has its flaws. Like, I feel like my game plan is flawed. Sometimes I feel like, dang, like doing what I think I should do might be flawed. So allowing God to direct our steps is important as men. You know what I mean? Just allowing God to do it. And stop listening to a whole bunch of people. Don't even listen to me, for real, for real. What you should be doing is taking in advice. My mentor told me this. Don't copy off of me. Don't follow after what I do. Take example of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and then make it into your own. Study for yourself. Look at how I study. Look at how what was important that my mentor showed me was not to study what he's doing, but how he studies. Like, pay attention to how I figure out things. Like, figure out how to figure out stuff. Like, that's what was important. That's what you take away from a mentor. That's what you take away from me. Don't look at what I'm saying and try to be exactly what I'm saying, but apply it in your own way, in your own life. Figure out what it is for you, on what could be changed in your life, what could we do better. But get the gist of what I'm saying. Hear what I don't say and apply that, man, because life is tricky. Life got this tricky edge to it. It got this tricky edge to it, and you gotta keep God first. That's the one thing you want to do. You want to keep God first. You want to keep a open mind, but a closed mind. Don't let the wicked stuff of this world influence you. However, keep an open mind enough to where the righteous people have a way into your heart, right? You don't want to be all bottled up and listening to the same two people over and over again. That's one thing you don't want to do. Also, you don't want to have a whole bunch of false doctrine. You don't want to have a whole bunch of different people around you indoctrinating you as well. So it's a balance, man. Life is this balance of good and bad, righteous and wicked. And you need to balance yourself in the part of it where you remain as close to righteousness as possible. That's why God sent Jesus Christ as an example. So if you look at his life, Jesus, he washed the feet of men. He was transparent. We know he did that. To this day, if somebody was to wash my feet, it would be frowned upon. What you washing his feet for? So you think that back then in them times that wasn't something to be frowned upon? It was, but Jesus still allowed that to be known. We know his mother, his trials, his tribulations. He actually died on a cross in front of a lot of people. So you gotta think, just being executed and facing death was one thing, but then for it to be publicized had to be another. Imagine knowing you're gonna be killed in front of everybody, just to add it to the insult, like, you know, for the town to see, everybody about to see what happened, and you know it. So having a sense of transparency is good, whether a lot of people say it or not, right? Because our example is not to listen to men. Our example is to follow after Christ, after Jesus. He gives us the walk that we should walk. Our walk should be looking as close to his as possible. Not saying we can't touch it up and be ourselves, because at the end of the day, we human. I'm hood. There's a lot of dudes that's not really hood. They really nice guys. Hey, listen, buddy, and hi. They're really nice and well spoken. That don't make them a better man than me. And me being urban don't make me a better man than them. We're all different. God made us individuals. We individuals. You know what I'm saying? What's the heart is what God is going to look at the end of the day. That's what I do. That's what I peep. So, you know, I just came in this joint kind of like for my brothers and my sisters. You know, how are we communicating with each other these days? How do we respect each other? Can you see your brother the way your brother sees himself and manage in that capacity for him? Can you see your sister the way your sister sees herself and operate in that capacity for her? See, sometimes we get caught up where I see you the way I see you, but I can't perceive you the way you perceive yourself. So I'm always going to be out of order in the way that it is to operate around you, because I'm not looking at you for the person you are. I'm looking at you as the person I see you to be. And oftentimes we are inside of ourselves striving to be a person that is not outwardly seen. Like, this may not be my best self. This may not be the finished product. God might still be working on me. So I might be able to see what God has gave me revelation. Remember I talked about that earlier for us men to have revelation. God may have gave you revelation to be able to see where he's leading you. And you just got to figure out how to get there and finish the pieces of the puzzle. But you might have a sister or another brother, whatever the case may be, who's looking at you for where you're at now. That's what they see. They see who you are now, and they can't see your revelation because God gave it to you. And I feel like to be a true friend, a true brother, that's why the Bible says brothers and sisters. To be a true sister is to be able to receive the revelation that your brother has. So like, dang, like this, I can see I can see what he see. And I'm going to operate around him as this is how we win. Brothers and sisters, this is how we win, sister. This is especially the ones that's in relationships. You know, we are romantic right now. This is how you win. You know how this man's revelation has been given to him, and you know where he's striving to be. So you operate in that capacity, and then that way he'll transition into that capacity well. And when he arrives, when God causes him to become and he arrives, you'll already be there because you've already been operating as if he was in that capacity. So you'll be ready for it, and he'll be ready for it. And that's vice versa to the guys. You got to be able to look at your woman or your sister, and you got to see what her revelation is, where God caused her to be and where she's going to be. And then in tune, you start acting in a capacity as if she's already there. That way, when she gets there, you'll be ready for her. You'll be in that spot, and the transition won't be uncomfortable to neither of the two, because y'all both see the revelation that God gave each other, which is why I discovered being in the Word is important. Being in tune with God is important, because if God causes two people to be in a union with each other, he'll give you both revelation at the same time. She'll see your revelation. You will be able to intimately explain it to her what God is saying, and she'll be able to intimately explain to you what her revelation that God has given her. And God doesn't operate in confusion, so he won't send her to Hawaii and you to Virginia Beach. God ain't gonna do that. And if he do, it'll be like some way it'll work. We'll be able to figure it out, but it won't be confusion, because God doesn't operate in confusion. So to be tapped in with him for both parties, I think is what's really important. That's good for our souls, that's good for our spirit, and that's good for our sense of direction on where we going. And I feel like we need to start appreciating each other a lot more. Some people. And for the people who got it together, for all yous out there that's good, and you and your folks is good, and y'all know the word, and y'all tapped in with God, I commend y'all. This post is not necessarily for y'all. We're looking at you guys, and we're learning a lot. So, continue to be an example for the less fortunate. Continue to be an example. We appreciate y'all for standing firm in the Lord and being a Christian and having faith and doing whatever it got to do to make it work, because we know that it's not easy. So, for the people who are fortunate to have love and their families together and all that, we admire you and we appreciate you. This is y'all month. This is y'all month of love, right? So we appreciate you during this time, and we want y'all to keep going, because we watching and we love it. It warms our heart. It warms my heart when I see families and families that's not broken. When I see fathers with their children, when I see mothers with their children, and happy people warm my heart. I ain't even going to say that I'm not one, but a cheerful person or people that striving to do the right thing actually always warms my heart. It brings tears to my eye and warmness to my heart. So I appreciate y'all as well. And for us that's learning and on our way, transitioning from this period to the next one, from this tinger in our life, this junction in our life to the next one, because we all desire love, peace, grace, the fruits of the Spirit. For the people who are acquiring the fruits and learning and trying to figure out how to get them, just stay on the path, yo. Keep going. It's hard. Don't let the devil attack you. I mean, he going to attack you. Fight back, though. Every time he throw a punch, get out the way. Step back if you got to. Throw back. You know what I'm saying? Get out the way. We got to keep fighting. Don't give up and get tired and sit and just be, man, don't let it kill you. Don't let it kill you. Don't let it kill you. That's what the Bible warns us, not to get weary. Drop that from Different World. Tune in to differentworld.com. Log on, see what we can do with you. February 15th, I'm gonna be on the Fresh Vibes with the Fresh Legend himself at Dialogue at the Dialogue joint up there. I showed y'all last time. We're gonna be there. I'm gonna give y'all another live performance. It's going down. Make sure y'all in the building. Tap in, tune in, stream. Share this page. Show a little young brother some support as I grow, as we all grow. I love all y'all. I ain't even check the comments real quick. Let me check the comments before I tune out. See what y'all talking about. Crystal Alexis said, this what you and your brother got from your dad. Y'all gotta preach. I know my pop used to talk his butt off. See, people don't know that. People don't know Lamont Bolden, man. Lamont used to talk all day, every day till he was blue in the face. But my pop really put us he really said so much. He really used to do, my dad. And here's a drum. My dad never had much money. He was poor all his life. And my mom stuck in with him her whole life. And she always was disgruntled about how poor my father was. She always wished he had more. And so that's why I know I'm going to do better for my family. I'm going to figure out a way out. But my dad, even though he didn't have financial stability in this earth while he was living, I don't think my mother could have picked a better father for us, because the sense of resiliency that he taught us, the skills that he gave us with our hands, the effort he put into talking to us and loving us, and the effort he put into showing up and being there. My dad never was afraid of me. You know how many men in this world right now be afraid of me? I'd be like, dang, I'm looking for love and a person that I can confide in. And all these men are scared of me to take their positions, or scared of me physically, or scared I'm taking from them. My dad he never was scared of me. He always wanted me to be better than him. If it was a way he could put me in position to be better than him, he would. If it was something he could do for me, he would do it. He never coveted his skills. If he had a skill, the next person to know it would be me. and my brothers. Like, he always gave us his skills. Any talent he had, he was quick to share it to you. My dad knew how to fix almost everything. And the first thing whenever something broke, he'd be like, come here, look, let me show you this. And he'd be taking something apart with the screwdriver and showing us the inside of the vacuum cleaner and how it worked and what size rubber bands to put around it. We knew how to change and repair the vacuum cleaner since we was like 4 years old. You know what I'm saying? My dad he just had so much skills, man. That's why black fathers are important. And for the women, that's a jewel I just dropped to y'all. Even though having money might be, sought after, having a man who can teach sons and having a man who can raise actual sons to being men, that is priceless. You can't I don't miss going on a vacation. I don't miss having fancy toys or fancy clothes. That is nothing I ever think about. I value the man that I've become. I value my sturdiness in the world. I would pick to be this man and be raised by my dad who was poor than anything else I could ever imagine. I mean, never had a rich dad, so I don't know how that would feel, or if I would still be saying the same thing. But I know, as far as what I know, the man who I am, how much I appreciate who God made me to be, and the skills that I have and the talents that I have with my hands. I appreciate my father for not being stingy, but teaching me his skills and teaching me his walk in life and showing me like how to be a man. I remember he would go outside and pee when we was little up against the wall, and he would make us come over while we was at the park, and we would pee right next to him. I remember seeing my dad peeing, like looking over like, ew, what's that? Like, but like now it's like, I don't know, it's just that was like the bond. Like, like I look at mines now, like, oh, I got one of those drawers too, and this is what you do with it. Like, I always was able to learn from dude. You know what I mean? And so now as I'm a man, I understand how valuable that is, because now as an adult myself, I have to operate in the world with other men. I have to try to, be in touch with my energy, which is God. You know what I mean? My father is past, he in his grave. Me and that dude done fought, bumped knuckles together and everything. You know what I'm saying? So nobody's perfect. I ain't always like him. He used to get on my nerves, you know what I mean? So, but it is what it is. You only get one pop, you only get one mom. So I understand having love for your folks. I got carried away with that one. She started talking about my dad. Let me see. What other comments I had? Look like that's the only comment I got so far. Everybody who tuned into this live, I appreciate you. Yeah, man. Anybody want to reach out to me? Like I was saying, go to diffworld.com. All my contact information is on there. If you're interested in, broadcasting with me, live streaming, you got any ideas like that, anything you want to do, I can help make them drones come to life, whatever the case may be. If you just want to contact me, if you want to talk, I'm always just available for almost anything. So I'm real crafty. So if y'all need me, I'm here as I'm going on this journey in life. God is leading me down this journey in life, and I'm just learning, and I'm rolling with the punches, and I'm still alive, and I ain't die, and I'm brokenhearted, but I'm picking up the pieces. I'm afraid, but I'm facing my fears. I'm lonely, but I'm full of Christ, so I'm not alone. I'm unsure, but I'm being made faithful. I'm being made over. I'm in my process, and as I'm going through this stuff, you know what I mean, I'm here. God has got me here. This is the tools. Look, He gave me these tools. I don't know why God gave me a microphone and a camera, but He did, and so I'm using them. So I'm here. So blah 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 blah. Later, different word. Holla. Don't involve fear.